Friday is going to be a big day and all eyes are going to be on Congress. Also, how Friday may impact benefits including Social Security, retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, SSI, VA, and RRB. All of that plus more in this video. Let's get into it right away. But if you haven't done so yet, or if you happen to be new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video so I can keep you updated each and every day with all this information as it is changing very rapidly, and I'm here for you each and every day with all those latest updates as they're being released. So again, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe down below and let's get into this right away. Alright, so this week is going to be a big one, especially when it comes to Friday, as Congress must take action prior to Friday, otherwise we may get ourselves into a little bit of a situation. Or maybe I should say Congress is going to get themselves into a situation. We're not doing anything, we're simply waiting here for Congress to take some action. However, Friday is going to be the key date that we need to watch here. However, Congress is going to be back in session this week, as I mentioned in my last video, and their top priority right now is a couple things. What's coming down on Friday, number one, and the reconciliation bill, otherwise known as the stimulus package. So with that being said, let's get into it and talk through these, as I have three different things that are going down on Friday, and these are all very, very important. Two of which require congressional action. So let's get into these one at a time here. All right, so number one, this is going to be the expiration in which the federal government needs to pass another continuing resolution and or the new fiscal year budget for 2022. Otherwise, we could potentially be looking at a government shutdown. Now remember, the fiscal year for 2022 started actually October 1st. The fiscal year for 2021 ended September 30th, and the new fiscal year began on October 1st. Well, sure enough, just like they do almost every year, they didn't have the new federal budget figured out, so they passed a continuing resolution. Well, they did it a couple times now, and now the new expiration is going to be December 3rd. So they need to come back and they need to pass another continuing resolution, and or they need to figure out what they're going to do with the new fiscal year budget, and or we could potentially be looking at a government shutdown. So that is number one. That must be done. Now, here's the thing. If they don't get that done, we could potentially be looking at a government shutdown, and we don't necessarily want that, especially with everything going on right now. However, this is typically not that big of an issue, simply because Congress typically comes together and they usually pass a continuing resolution literally the last minute. They usually wait until the very last day to do it, and a lot of times the president doesn't even sign it until the next morning. So who knows? Maybe that'll happen again. I've seen a few dates thrown around where maybe they want to extend it out until December 15th, which would only be 2 weeks, which seems a little silly to me, because it just means like they're going to be in this exact same situation in 2 more weeks from now. Otherwise, I have seen dates where they want to push it out into early February. So again, we don't really know what they're doing, but this is all they have to do, and there's some talk about this out there right now, but this is something that must get done by Friday. So that's number one. Next on the list is number two, and this is going to be happening regardless of what happens in Congress, and this is going to be the jobs report, the non-farm payroll report, coming out for the month of November. Now, this is the employment information that is released the first Friday of each month at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, the first Friday of each month, and that's going to be this coming Friday. So we're going to get a pulse on the job market and see what's cooking as of November, and to see where we're sitting. Now, this is going to also peg the unemployment rate and to let us know were jobs created, were jobs lost, what's going on with the jobs market. Because remember, Congress watches this very closely, the president watches it very closely, and pretty much everybody watches it very, very closely. So that'll also be released Friday morning. All right, and next, this is a really, really big one now. So let me explain this a little bit here. So this is in reference to the debt ceiling. Now, we've talked about this previously. This has been an issue since pretty much July, the end of July, it has been an issue, and they keep kicking the can down the road. Well, a few weeks ago, back in mid-October, so about 5 weeks or so ago, they passed a short-term patch to keep everything going, to raise the debt ceiling. Well, just a short-term patch, I should say, not necessarily to permanently raise the debt ceiling, but basically they allocated an extra $480 billion to keep everything going. In other words, to give the Treasury another $480 billion so that the Treasury can keep paying all the obligations and the bills for the federal government until December 3rd or thereabouts. So that is one date that's on the table. However, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen was out and she said that we may have a few more days to go versus December 3rd. However, according to the $480 billion that they actually allocated at the time of passing it back in mid-October, about 5 weeks ago, that $480 billion was supposed to get them until December 3rd. So any day now, the Treasury is going to be fresh out of cash, once again, not being able to pay their bills. And now this is where the big issue comes in between Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell. These two guys are not fans of each other, right? We've seen these guys kind of spar at each other before, and they're not huge fans. However, they have been talking a little bit. Surprisingly, they even had a closed-door meeting between the two of them about a week and a half ago. So, weird. But yeah, I can't even imagine how that meeting went. I bet it was super awkward, to say the least, right? But anyway, between these two guys, they're probably going to figure something out to raise the debt ceiling on a bipartisan basis to see what happens going forward. And this is what transitions into how this could potentially impact benefits including Social Security, SSDI, SSI, VA, RRB, low income. Well, yeah, those benefits. All right, so here's what's going on. Now, again, I'm not here to instill fear in anybody. I'm not here to be a conspiracy theorist, anything like this. This is simply what I'm finding with my research. Basically what they're saying is people are saying that if they don't actually address the debt ceiling issue, that there could potentially be delays to benefits, including all those that I just mentioned: Social Security, SSDI, SSI, VA, RRB. So it's not necessarily that the benefits will not be arriving. That's not it. They're simply saying that there may be some delays in the event that all of this government shutdown business happens and potentially even debt ceiling issue possibly arises. So they're possibly saying that there could potentially be delays to payments. Now, again, I've mentioned this in other videos as we've talked about this in previous months and weeks ago. We don't know what the delay would be. I've never seen any evidence of any kind saying the delay will be 3 days, or the delay will be 1 day, or the delay will be 5 days. I've never seen anything like that, but rather all they say is this could potentially delay the distribution of payments. Well, that wouldn't be a very good thing, especially right now when everybody is so tight on money. And I would imagine for anybody receiving monthly benefits, I'm pretty sure you keep a pretty close eye on your calendar, right? I'm sure that you probably have mapped out your next couple payments, exactly when they're going to hit your accounts, exactly when they're going to arrive as a paper check in your mailbox. You know these dates, and you count on those deposits. I guarantee it. When you get your deposits, I'm guessing the day of your deposit, you probably wake up and one of the first things you do that morning is probably check your account, right? Whether it's a Direct Express card, whether it's a bank account. I know, trust me, I do the same thing. You know what I mean? When you're expecting a deposit, the first thing you do, you look at your bank account, right? Hey, is it there? Did I get a little relief today? Did somebody throw me some cash? Because I'm really struggling right now. I know the feeling, right? So that's probably going to be the situation going forward. And all of a sudden, if the day comes when you're supposed to get your deposit and all of a sudden it's not there, that's not going to be a good thing, right? So anyway, we will watch this very closely, but this coming Friday, December 3rd, is the date. This is the key date. There's a lot of things converging on that date. There's also something else coming out as far as the surface transportation funding. Again, that doesn't really impact any of us here. That's another thing that comes down on Friday as well. I decided not to talk about it simply because it just doesn't really impact anybody here. And I thought, you know what? I want to focus on things that are going to impact this community. So, but yeah, that's another thing, December 3rd. So there's a lot going on that day, and Congress will be back at it. Who knows doing what this week, right? But either way, I'm going to keep watching everything closely. I will keep you posted with any further details, and I'll be right here doing all that research for you, bringing it all back in these short videos to help you out in any way that we can. And now that we're on the home stretch of this stimulus package, and it should be passed here in a matter of potentially days, possibly weeks, whatever it takes for Congress to get this done. So thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Subscribe down below. Share this video with your friends, family, social media. Go back and check out some of the other nearly 2,000 videos right here on the channel. And I promise you, I'll continue to be here for you every single day as your one and only daily advocate. Enjoy. I really appreciate it. I'll catch you again later.